in ecological terms, it is very remote because it's just not near anything else. And so it's a volcanic island. It's about 1 to 2 million years old. It was actually the island that Darwin was looking at when he sort of came up with this whole theory about how coral atolls are formed, which is that it starts off as a volcanic island and there's a coral reef that's built around the island, and then as that bit moves off of the hot spot underneath the oceanic plate and the land starts to cool, it starts to sink. And so as it sinks, you can imagine this sort of pointy island starting to sink, the coral reef builds up on the side, and eventually over time the island disappears and you're just left with this perfect ring of coral around the end, which is to form an atoll. And so Darwin was part of his Galapagos expedition. They actually went to French Polynesia, and he was standing on a mountain in Tahiti looking at Moorea, and he sort of thought about how this might work, and sure enough, as he was with many other things, he was right. He was a pretty bright guy.
So we've got this big urban area in Santa Barbara, and we've got the San Ynez Mountains behind us, and they have a bunch of streams and watersheds that can collect runoff, collect sediment, and in big storm seasons you can get something from looking like this to a big outflow. So this is a picture of, during a storm, a bunch of rainwater going through one of our watersheds and bringing with it nutrients and sediment and all sorts of other things that are going to get dumped right into the ocean. So this is sort of our little schematic. And those things can influence kelp forest systems by adding nutrients, which could potentially be good for kelp, fertilizing them essentially. Could be adding sediment, which would reduce the light there, which could be bad for them. And so we're trying to follow this and understand exactly how these systems are interacting.
What you love about the sea slug is it exudes a defensive chemical, so like a skunk, but it actually smells really nice.
So we wanted to, so everybody smells something differently. No, seriously. So you have to, she's going to poke it, and then you have to just smell the water over the dish. And we won't say, don't say what you think it is.
No?
Because there's a big debate about what it actually smells like. And we caught this, we feed kelp to the adult sea urchins, and it was sort of a hitchhiker on a piece of kelp. And they're really cool. What's it called? The lion's mane? Lion's mane. And so you smell it and everybody else.
It's really faint, but it's like it's not like seawater.
Yeah,
it's like fruity.
Yeah, it's such a.
Okay, what do you think it smells? Okay, don't say it. Okay, one more smeller. One more smeller.
Yeah, it's like a dull. It's not as.
It smells like watermelon.
Yeah. Oh. The eggs are really tiny. The eggs are about the width of your hair, and they turn into a little swimming embryo, and then once they've eaten enough food in the plankton, then they will settle down at the bottom of the ocean and turn into a little teeny miniature version of one of those sea urchins. Yeah, so we mostly study the embryo stages of sea urchins.
Yeah. We don't mind, especially in the young year, don't mind being around the rocks like this. But you can see the dynamic sand-rock interface.
Yeah, all of these here are anemones. They're closed up right now.
It looks like a little cloud.
I will try.
In here.
Dropping, which is what I wanted for this. It's the perfect time. So the young of the year strands, the older ones are going to be down in sort of the near the drop off, which is also a mobile feature. But so these guys just happen to be